Tower Defense Simulator currently has 12 unique game modes with 12 unique bosses in them. So I thought it would be pretty fun if we tried to beat every boss in the game using only event towers. And it's been a good while since I've, sat down and played some TDS, so we're just gonna see how this goes.
Some good water.
The first thing I did, like you would do in any TDS playthrough, I decided to pick a map, and I looked at a map I'd never really seen before, so I picked that one. It was a beachside map. And this is pretty much the game mode. I really started looking at what towers I had. And the towers I brought were for Elf Camp, which is for early game, Freezer or Ice Blaster for stunning, Firework Technician for support, Jester for, burning, confusion and everything, and Spotlight Technician for up high. And honestly, this was a pretty easy game mode, but it did show that this was going to be a pretty hard challenge. So next I took on the game mode, casual mode, and it honestly went pretty much the exact same, but then I realized a pretty big problem.
I guess my main DPS is like Frost Blasters.
And that was exactly it. Because, that's kind of a challenge, because what if I get a stronger enemy? I can't really do much with that. Nonetheless, this game mode pretty much went the exact same as the other ones, and nothing really too bad happened, because, he does have 60,000 HP, but with the Firework Technician and the Freeze Blaster combo, we can just launch fireworks at these kids like it's a Call of Duty voice chat server. Nonetheless, he went down pretty easily. Just the Firework Technician and the Elf Camp combo cooked him really hard. So, with the second challenge down, I decided it was time to move on to a bit of a harder one. Intermediate mode! And for this one, I decided to swap out Frost Blaster with that one Plants vs. Zombie one from that one update. And honestly, I think the sunflowers could be pretty good damage, just in general. But these enemies regenerate, so let's just see what happens. Midway through the game, honestly, you're doing pretty good. The elf camps were just carrying hard. The biologists were doing pretty good damage, although the bullets were pretty fast. They weren't really too much of a problem for the Spotlight Technician, because you could just cook him with the Spotlight. Patient Zero actually made it pretty far along the track, almost killing us, but we slimed him. Now it's time to move on to... I hate this game mode so much with a deep passion! Sorry, let me explain to you all why. For one, it's just like the corpse system, like, yeah, it's cool and all, but it's just like, it's not my thing. And also just, if you don't really have, like, any cliff towers or summoning towers, you can't really deal with it that easily. And, we just don't have enough damage. Like, even if the sunflowers get all maxed out, just sunflowers, there's no way we'll have enough damage to just defeat everything that comes later in this mode. Or the Fallen King, right? Okay, well, I stand corrected because we just made it past wave 34 and we are moving on to the final boss of this. Well, also, this is when I realized something. He randomly regenerates all of his HP midway through the track. So that was a major setback for us. So that was a bit of an oopsie-doopsie, because now we have a 150,000 HP boss right next to our front door. So I had to sell everything, just including the whatever's, get rid of the corpses, screw the corpses actually, just lock in. Here's just a live gameplay of how that really occurred.
Come on. We're so close.
So honestly, this is probably the closest thing in the entire challenge so far. He got really close to the base, and once we finally got him, you can just hear the excitement in my voice. Listen to this.
Yes! Oh my gosh. We did it.
So in Molten Mode successfully down, it's time to move on to Fallen Mode. And this is by far one of the hardest things ever done in this game. Fallen Mode. And honestly, the early game pretty much started out the exact same as the last one. I placed down elf camps, and middle game... Oh, it was a challenge. So, mid-game, it was the hazmats and the skeletons that really got us, because they just had an uncertain amount of HP in general. And aggroed everything, and yeah. And, oh my gosh, don't even get me freaking started on that bossy boy. Before that, I feel like we should talk about some things, just generally about the game and how hard it was, since we're not because any more watch hours for me to get money. So the Fallen Shield Master was pretty hard, because in general we just didn't have enough damage per second to take care of that. And it got really close, so close to the point where I had to let Elf Camp cook this kid, because there's nothing that can get past the good old power of Elvins. Toy makers. But I feel like we should also talk about the flying ones, because those things are bad. So here we are at the flying ones, and you can just tell that everything was going bad here. We have the Fallen Honor Guard here just pushing through our defenses at the very back, so he barely even gets hit. But he actually has lost a good amount of HP, but the flyings could only be hit by the slowing enemy, or slowing guy, and, Spotlight Technician. So it was pretty challenging, so challenging that I had to drop a nuke on these boys. In fact, I didn't even kill him fully, we still had about 4,000 HP to go before he fully died. That just shows how strong he is, but now let's just stop wasting time and get right onto the boss. This boss fight was awful. I really don't even know how to fully describe it. There was just so many enemies, and I think with the Honor Guard drops, it makes the other enemies heal, so the flower's gonna do enough damage. The freezer's gonna do anything. The Elf Camp guys were dying like freaking flies. And everything went wrong. And even when you look at this, you can just see that the enemies themselves got us. It wasn't even the Fallen King. We did no more than 100,000 damage to him. So, I guess the farthest you can get with those event towers is Fallen mode. But I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.